Hi everyone, I'm back again with another video. This is week 18 of the 52-week project. This week is fast shutter speed, and in this image here is a picture of my son during a Taekwondo competition. Caught this shot, actually a couple of shots in a sequence, but this turned out to be the best one. His focus on the board was is what made me choose this shot. You just see his face; his eyes hadn't left the board the whole time. Alright, I'm a little pressed for time today, as I've been for the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to try and get through this pretty quick. Alright, there's not too much that's going to be done here in Camera Raw with this image here, but I'm going to start off and bump up the contrast a little bit here. Say about plus 10 should be good. And in order to get this shot, I was pretty far up. I was standing on a kind of a catwalk. So I zoomed all the way in on this. It was well, not all the way in, about 160 millimeters, according to the EXIF up here. But as you can see, it's ISO 1600. So the image is pretty noisy. As you can see here, his face looks pretty noisy. So jump over into the where is it? Is it the sharpening? It should be under the sharpening. There it is. The noise reduction here. And I'm going to raise the luminance value up to about 50. It should be pretty good there. As you see, it smooths out his skin a bit and gets rid of a lot of that noise there. Other problem I did see with this image was the chromatic aberration. You see right here, a little bit on this Nike swoosh symbol here, and a little bit on this side and on this side here. So also noticed a little bit over here as well, and also on Hernando's back there's a little bit around the letters as well. So I'm going to jump over to the lens correction, and I'm going to click on remove chromatic aberration. And it was most noticeable in the Nike symbol here, so I'm going to go back over to that, and I'm going to move the purple amount up to about right around there, which starts to get rid of that. And I'll move this up just a bit and try and get rid of this little, you see this little blue fringe around here. It's like a bluish colored fringe, so I'm going to move that over to right around 36 or so. And I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to jump over into Photoshop. I'm going to open this as a smart object. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this image to black and white. So I'm going to use a black and white adjustment layer. And since the ground here, I want to make that a little bit darker, and that was a blue matte, as you can see. So I'm going to bring down the blues, which will darken that. And I don't want to go too dark, and it's going to start looking weird. And it also fell in the cyan area, so I'm going to move that down as well. And That looks pretty good right there. I don't want to go too crazy with this because then it's going to look all blotchy and thing, or just goes black totally. I don't like that. It loses all detail out of it. I think that around 5 or so, 6, somewhere around there is pretty good. It darkens it, but not too much to the point where it just turns black. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is duplicate this layer, dragging it down, and change it to linear burn, which really makes the image a lot darker. So I want to invert the mask here and switch over and grab my pen here, and I'm just going to paint in the darker areas, or areas that should be darker. And make sure I'm set to black and white here. Actually going to set the foreground color to black. I don't know why I selected that. And I'm going to zoom in a bit on Steven here. And I'm just going to paint right over areas that are shadow or fall to shadow. As you know, I want to bring out some of the details in that. And as you know, I think I've done this in a couple of other videos. Maybe not this particular method. Usually it's a dodge and burn layer that I use. But this is pretty much the same concept. You know, just going over and painting in the areas that are already there. I'm not adding to them, you know, creating anything, I should say, other than what's already there. I'm using a pretty light touch with this. I'm using my pressure sensitive pen, so it's a little easier to control than if you would try and do this with a mouse. Not to say that it can't be done with a mouse, it just may be a little more difficult to do. And once again, it's time consuming to do it this way, and there may be other easier ways to do this, but I prefer to do it this way personally. Probably not the best thing to be doing when you press for time, like myself, but I might have to put this on pause and go take care of it. I think a couple of things that I need to do and come back later on and finish this. I could really get caught up in doing this kind of stuff, but it's fun. Just accenting the areas that are already there. You see, that looks a little too dark to me. I don't like that right there. I'm just going to paint back with white on top of that. I want to draw attention to areas that really don't need the attention. So. do a little bit on his back as well. Just to show a little bit more depth. It's white to begin with, so it's show some of those folds in the clothing. Just helps to define the wrinkles that are there. Mine was a little sloppy. I didn't like that. Put down a little smaller with the brush. By the way, I'm not using the brush I'm using isn't it doesn't go thinner by my pressure. It just goes lighter by how much pressure I put on there. So it's a opacity jitter, not size jitter. Well, I think you get the point with that. I'll show you what it looks like, how much it makes the clothing, jump out a bit. Before I go too crazy with this, what I want to do is crop the image a bit, bring the focus and attention on him and the board there. So it's kind of a square crop, but I think it kind of works with this. Unfortunately, I cut his feet off, and I was a little disappointed with that. I wish I would have gotten his feet and everything in there, not cut him off at the ankles there, but it would have looked better as well to show the actual height that he had gotten. So, you only get the one chance to do it, so you gotta try and nail it when you can. Alright, and now I wanted to darken in around the outsides here. Looks like a hard brush. Oh, that's because I'm on the pencil. That's why that was like that. There we go. Yeah, let's give a little vignette here. Actually, can do, before I do that, let me add a vignette here. I'm going to double click and go back into Camera Raw and go to, where is it? Post crop vignette. And well, we want to go backwards, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. Let's back that off just a bit. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, now we got our little vignette going there. Just bring some of the attention in on that. Watch with this. Brighten that up just a bit right there. Show them getting that height. And I think this looks pretty good. Maybe do a little curves adjustment layer here. Oops. I think I do that every single time. Let's go to curves. I'll make a little bit of an S curve here. A little higher. I won't go too dark with it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. That vignette might be a little bit too strong up here. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit and make sure I select the black and white layer there. Just going to paint back in with black. Just back off that vignette a little bit there, a little bit there. On this head bit. I think that looks pretty good. Before and after. Actually, you know what? I'll go back in here and back this vignette off a little bit. Just a little. Let's see. 48. Let's try that. Yeah, backed it off just a little bit. Alright, and that's it. That is week 18. Bring it out to full screen. Zoom in a little bit. And of course, you do a little sharpening on this, and that'll be it. Alright, guys.